Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Badgersboro. In today's video, we're going to be covering a topic I never thought I would. It's going to be the topic of Is Joe Flacco Elite? This video was actually requested by one of you guys, so if you want to see one of your ideas covered in a video, make sure to comment down below what you want to see, and I will get around to covering it. As always, guys, like and subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Alright, so for this video, we are going to be covering the not really a debate of is Joe Flacco elite. And so I'm going to be covering his stats and how they compare to Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and that's where I'm going to be making my determination. So I'm going to start with the immediate question of is Joe Flacco elite? And the answer is absolutely not. Joe Flacco is not an elite quarterback in the history of the NFL. He's just not. Joe Flacco is known for his one good postseason run in which he threw 11 touchdowns and no interceptions and led the Ravens to a Super Bowl over the 49ers. That was maybe one of the best postseason runs we've ever seen. And, Joe deserves a lot of the credit for that. Obviously, their defense was stellar. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, those guys were incredible. But, Joe Flacco was the leader of that offense. Like I mentioned, 11 touchdowns, no picks. That's extremely difficult to do. Uh, you know, was Flacco elite for that playoff run? Absolutely. But in the grand scheme of things, Flacco is not close to elite. When you think of elite, and especially quarterbacks right now, you think of Brady, Breeze, and Rodgers. Flacco is just not there. Maybe if he played every year like 2012, maybe. But if he did, he wouldn't be a backup for the Jets right now. So is Joe Flacco elite? No, and not even close. Is Joe Flacco a legendary quarterback? No. Um, I mean that one's more difficult. He's probably one of the better Ravens quarterbacks of all time. I mean, you got Steve McNair. Lamar is well on his way to being put in that conversation, but Flacco, in terms of the Ravens franchise, yeah, he's a legend. But in terms of the NFL, he's probably not. I mean, like, let's be realistic here. If you're not a Raven fan, you're not getting a Joe Flacco jersey, and that's kind of just how it goes. Flacco is not really a household name unless you're in Baltimore, and I mean, he's really just not that great of a quarterback in the all-time scheme of things. So is Joe Flacco elite? No. Is Joe Flacco a legend? No. But this debate's a little more interesting. Is Joe Flacco a Hall of Famer? And for this, we're going to look at a few statistics and we're going to compare them to guys that are either in the Hall of Fame or not in the Hall of Fame. And I think Joe Flacco, remarkably, actually does have a case to get into the Hall of Fame. Obviously he's got that one Super Bowl that propels him pretty far into that Hall of Fame debate. And if we're talking about guys like Eli Manning, who just has one more Super Bowl, but as a career was worse, I mean, it's going to be pretty difficult to really make the designation of is he that much more of a Hall of Famer than Flacco is. And so for this one, we're going to look at an article from a CBS affiliate in Baltimore so that I can get some stats from it. And it mentions that Joe Flacco is above 40,000 yards in his career. He passed that mark with the Jets this past season. And that yard statistic is higher than the likes of Johnny Unitas, Kurt Warner, Troy Aikman, Steve Young, and the second best quarterback of all time, Joe Montana. Obviously, those guys have more championships, Montana, Aikman, Young, especially. But I mean, that's kind of crazy. Joe Flacco has more passing yards all time than those guys. One of just 22 people ever, as I'm recording this, to throw for 40,000 yards in a career. That's rather impressive, especially for Flacco, who's really not one of those guys. I mean, I'm going to keep going back to Brady, Breeze, and Rodgers. Flacco's just not one of them. Maybe for one season he was one of them, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, he really just was not, that guy at all. Um, Moving on, he's 34th all time in passing touchdowns, which is also rather impressive. There have obviously been a ton of quarterbacks to make the Hall of Fame, but for Joe to be number 34 all time, I mean that raises some questions. I mean, I don't. That's pretty impressive. I've said impressive a lot this game or this video. Wow, I'm out of it. But you don't expect those type of numbers from a guy like Flacco. He's not a household name unless you're in Baltimore. But at the end of the day, his numbers are shocking, and they're actually really good. He has 220 career passing touchdowns, which is 34th all time as I'm recording this. And, he has 18 fourth quarter comebacks. So was Flacco clutch? Yeah, a little bit. He's top 40 in that respect, too. Um, Flacco's a postseason quarterback, um, which, that helps a lot. He's got 3,200 yards in the postseason and a 25 to 10 interception mark, which is 5 to 2. That's pretty good right there. Uh, you know, 5 to 2 touchdown to interception in the playoffs. Not too easy to do. Obviously, it could be better. I'm sure Brady's is better. Mahomes' is definitely better. But for Joe Flacco, those are pretty good stats. And that's just in 15 career postseason games. So he was averaging almost 2 touchdowns a game, not quite. But a lot of those games were against some really, really good Patriots defenses. So you got to give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit there. Um, you know, the Ravens fans clamor about how good Joe Flacco was in the playoffs. And yeah, he won them some games, 10 to be exact. But four of them came in one season. Three or four. I'm not sure if they had a bye or not. I really don't follow the Ravens at all, other than when they lose to the Patriots, which seems to happen more often than not. But the one case against Flacco is his comparisons to Phil Simms. Phil Simms is one of only four quarterbacks all time to win Super Bowl MVP and not be inducted into the Hall of Fame. That list does not include Eli Manning because he is not eligible for the Hall of Fame quite yet. But that's the thing is we might see the second, or we might see the fifth, excuse me, with Joe Flacco. And it's very difficult to say because his numbers are very comparable to Phil Simms in terms of, what he did on the field. Obviously, won the Super Bowl, one less than Simms. But, regardless, it's difficult to compare quarterbacks throughout the eras. I would personally give the nod to Flacco on this one over Simms. Obviously he's still mentoring in Denver and now in New York, but I don't know. Flacco is interesting to me. Does he have a Hall of Fame case? Absolutely. Do I think he'll get in? It's very difficult to say. I mean, he really only had one. Really only had one good postseason run, and that was really it. Yeah, he was a postseason guy and known for one season in the playoffs. His completion percentage is extremely low, which is not good for a quarterback. Obviously, we know that, but you know, if I had to make a determination as to if Joe Flacco is a Hall of Famer or not, I would say yes. I would say Joe Flacco is a Hall of Famer because of his legacy in Baltimore at nothing else. He brought him a Super Bowl. Obviously, that defense was ridiculously good. But Flacco was so good in those playoffs. I think, for nothing else, you got to put him in the Hall for those games and just his entire tenure in Baltimore. Flacco was extremely impressive. I think his whole career in Baltimore, especially, should give him a Hall of Fame bid. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. It's a bit shorter than usual, but I just didn't have too much to talk about because It's Joe Flacco. There's not that much to talk about. As always, guys, please do like and subscribe if you're still watching this video. Thank you. I hope it was a little interesting for you guys. It's definitely something that I didn't think too hard about until I did research for this video. But like I mentioned earlier, this was a fan requested video. So for a chance for your ideas to be covered in a future Badgers Borough video, comment down below what you want to see. I'm always looking for new ideas and stuff to kind of, broaden my horizons and, stuff that I didn't think about earlier. So to who commented this, thank you. This was a good dive into the career of Joe Flacco, and I can't wait to make more videos like this for you guys. But I'll catch you in the next one, guys. See you later. Peace.